Okay, so here we are getting the hang of this podcast again. It's been a while, and I have the story around like, okay, what was that break that I took? What did I went through? And I have quite the story for you. Be careful when you ask the universe for things because it fucking delivers. I remember like a year and a half, 2 years ago, telling the universe, I need new stories for my business. Like, I've been telling the stories about my near death experience and Bali and my awakening abilities and my spiritual awakenings. And those are great fucking stories. But I was like, I need new stories or I want new stories. And holy shit, did the universe deliver? Like, oh my God. I feel now like so full of so many stories and so many wisdom and so much wisdom and so much just like fullness to share with you. And I'm gonna be sharing all of it in throughout all of this episode. So this is just basically like the comeback. And I'm excited that you're here. If you're here again, if you used to listen to the podcast and you're coming back, like I am so excited that you're here. Thank you for coming back. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Get excited because this podcast, I feel like it's such a channeling and such a beautiful transformational space, because even if it's a free podcast, I feel like the way that I share in this podcast and how I allow myself to just open up through everything that I've been through and to share with you so openly and so raw, it's already such a shift in a transmission, because you can really find yourself in this podcast and allow yourself to not only just listen to my words, but to feel the transmission of this podcast and of the things that I share with you. So I'm excited. So for this episode specifically, I want to talk to you about a becoming. I want to talk to you about embodying your next level. I want to talk to you about becoming her, which is something that I've been talking about a lot lately, because that's exactly the journey that I've been into. I've been into in the last 2 years. I've been through like what it actually means to hit an upper limit and to become the next level. And so, a few things that I want to talk about, and I was talking with my client the other day, and she was telling me that she's been a little bit off business for a while, which I actually too last year was in an unofficial break from business. Like I didn't really felt like I was officially off, but I was. Anyway, there was a whole thing. But I was talking to my client and she was saying that she had been a little bit away from business because she was doing some personal work and she was not so connected to her business, and that she's coming back, and that most of the times she has this like vision about her comeback and the way that she wants to be perceived again and the way that she wants to launch her business again. And we got into this beautiful conversation that got me to be inspired about creating this podcast episode, because a lot of the times we put so much pressure on ourselves in the way that this comeback needs to look like. And I feel like, in social media is glorified the way that like, somebody launches something or you see that they're, coming back so strong. And from the outside, it looks like, oh my God, from one day to the next, this woman just like embodied all her power and had it all together and like was able to come back and make millions, and that's so fucking exciting. But the truth is that behind the scenes, when it comes to becoming her, behind the scenes when it comes to coming back to your purpose, when it comes to realigning to your truth, when it comes to, if you haven't been in business, feeling a little bit off, in that comeback of embodying your truth again, it's not a fucking linear journey. Like becoming her, it's not a linear journey. It's not like, all right, one day to the next, I fucking woke up and I knew what I was meant to do and I just went and did it. Like my perfectionist in me would love that idea. Like and it literally sometimes clings to the idea of like, today today it's gonna be perfection, and today it's gonna be the comeback, and today it's gonna be like, I just basically like broke through all of my limiting beliefs and the world is fucking perfect from today. But it's not like that. And I feel like like somebody fucking needs to tell this story, because it's like when we think that that is the way that it's meant to be, otherwise something is wrong, is when we get so caught up and we put so much pressure on ourselves in the way that this needs to look. Because, especially for the women that I work with who are very ambitious, very driven, very bold, and in a way so devoted to our work as I am, we can get sometimes very like controlling around the way that we get to move through transformation. Like, one of the things that we need to remember is that when you are going through personal transformation, first of all, let's just make sure that this is really clear for everybody. When you're running a business and you're feeling disconnected from business, or when you're running a business, even if it's doing great, but you're feeling that something is off, the problem, it's not the business. The problem is most likely you. And not that you are a problem, but that sometimes you're doing things that are not longer in alignment with you, or that you are allowing things in your business that do not align with your truth. And so it all comes back to personal transformation, personal power, healing insecurities, healing trauma, upgrading your mindset, upgrading your energy. And when you do that, when you have a really strong foundation of who you are becoming and who you are being, all of a sudden the answers of what's next in my business, what's the strategy that I am pulled into, what is the marketing, what is the person that's going to support me growing my business, becomes a lot more clear and not so dramatic, because we're caught up in our head. And so the first thing that I want to say is, like, a lot of the times we think that succeeding in business is about doing more. I need to do more. I need to be more perfect. I need to figure out the answers. I need to, like, there's something that I don't have that I need that is outside of me. But the truth is that the key, especially for my people, especially for the people that are interested in personal development, that are interested in not just like making a shit ton of money, but doing it in a way that feels good. Like, you want to have it all. You don't just want money, or you don't just want to be super fucking connected to spirit. You want both. You want success in the ethereal realm, success inside of you, and success outside of you. And so if that's what you're desiring, you've got to remember that when it comes to growing your business, is so much to do with you. You want to upgrade your business, you got to upgrade your mind, you got to upgrade your energy, you got to upgrade the way that you're operating. Because again, if something feels off in business, it all comes back to you. Why does it feel off? Because there's something within you that is telling you this is not the way. And so when it comes to becoming her, and what that means, it's basically like, at least for me, becoming me is, it's more me, more me, more me, more truth of who I truly am. Less, I need to be this or I need to be that. Less trying to perform, less people pleasing, less seeking for validation and approval. It's actually shedding off the fucking layers that I have created for protection, and allowing myself to just be more me, or to feel safe to be more me, to have a stronger mindset, to have a stronger connection to my soul and my truth and what it's next for me, to have an energy that is like fucking radiant. And so we start operating from a very powerful place within, that then ripples effects into, of course, how magnetic we are with money, how many opportunities find us, how much business opportunities begin to show up in our reality. And so when it comes to this journey, one thing that I want to say is, the crumbling is a real fucking thing. If there is something in your life right now, in your business right now, that really is not in alignment, like it's just not your truth, and you're trying to make it work because you're like, fuck, I just like, why can I figure it out? And you're really trying to make it work and forcing it. The first thing that needs to happen, and that will happen, is that things begin to crumble. They're not going to work the way that they used to. They're not going to feel so effortless anymore. There's going to be a lot of like, quote unquote, problems that are showing you, hey, listen, maybe this is not the way. And so the first thing that I feel like we resist so much in this becoming is that we don't want things to crumble. So we're like holding so tight for things and trying to like even do more and force more in our mind of like, okay, let me find the fucking answer for this. But the answer is not more control. The answer is not trying to figure it out outside of ourselves. The answer, it's like, okay, I am going to allow myself to surrender to the process of what's moving through me. And so to kind of like, that was a little bit of a sidetrack, but like to kind of come back to the episode, but I feel like I needed to give you a little bit of context in order for you to understand what I want to share after. But like when I was talking to my client, we were talking about her comeback. It's like, you have been through like this personal transformation. And when you're moving through personal transformation, a lot of the times, at least me, I want to speed it up. Like I have serious problems when it comes to like the patience of allowing myself to move through something, because it's like I wanted to move fast, like let's go. But when it comes to personal transformation, you really have to, like, the more you're trying to force it or to try to speed it up, the longer the process will take. And so one thing that I've gotten to realize when it comes to this comeback is like, because I have like lack of patience about my personal journey, a lot of the times I'm like almost like having this pressure to come back. Like, I haven't done this podcast in like a year and a half, so it's like, okay, let's go, we're going to make this fucking comeback, we're going to have this incredible new graphics, and it's going to be perfect, and it's going to be boom and amazing, wow. And then truly, like, that's not the way that the journey has been. I want to be super honest with you and share with you my story about the comeback in my business, about what it's felt behind the scenes, and most importantly, like, the half truth that they tell you about, like, be her now and act as her and like embody your future self, and this like idea that we have around the way that is supposed to look like. When I just want to be super real with you of like what actually that process has been for me, what I found along the process, what I found hold me back and made it harder for myself, and what I found was like the key to allow myself to move through it when I got the rhythm of it, and when I was like, oh shit, this is the way that is going to work. And so the first thing that I want to say with that is like, my comeback was not linear. It was not like one day I fucking woke up and I was like, okay, today's a day that I come back to business. Today's a day that I make a shit ton of money again. Today's a day that my clients see me. Today is the day that I am perfect again. Like, no, that was not the journey. The journey was like slowly and surely through all the tools and exercises and healings and things that I've done behind the scenes. That is the things that, of course, I teach my clients to move through, like the work, right? Like through all this work of connecting back to my truth, connecting back to my purpose, connecting back to my body, healing the limitations that were coming up for me, healing the pieces of me that didn't feel safe in the ways that I was operating in the past, and coming back to a new way of leadership, like a leadership that feels more like me first and then my world, me full, and then so I share. Like those three pillars were like the work that I was moving through in order to become her. But the actual journey was like, I began to feel more myself day by day. Like every single day, I found like an essence, an energy that was like closer to my true self. Like it was like a slow comeback towards like, oh, I see myself again. Oh, I feel myself again. Oh, that feels really good. Oh, that is the way. Oh, that is beautiful. And so it was more like every day was like a mini aha moment that is compounding. And so it has not been linear. Like I swear to you, like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm ready to come back. Let's go. And I go and I show up on social media and I have an incredible day. And during the day, I'm like, and during the night after that day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling tender again. Like I'm feeling, I don't know, a resistance towards show up tomorrow. The journey of my comeback, it's not like one day again, I woke up and I was like, let's fucking do this. The journey was, moving through resistance. The journey was sometimes I felt like I don't want to show up on social media, and moving through that. Some days it was like, oh, I'm in my head and there's so many things that I need to be doing, because of course, like getting my business off the ground again, it's, of course, there's a lot of things that need to be done. And so sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. It's too much. Okay, deal with that. And so what I want you to know, it's like your comeback or your next level or whatever the fuck it is next for you. It's not going to come like one day you're going to be like, okay, let's go. It's going to be an accumulation of decisions and of choices that will guide you in the right direction. Like for me, it didn't felt always like I was going in the right direction. It just felt like almost like, yes, and then a little bit of retrieval. Yes, and a little bit of retrieval. Yes, and a little bit of retrieval. It was like what really got me through was my commitment and my choice that got me through this journey. It was like my constant was I am in it. My constant was I know where I'm going, regardless of what it looks like today. And so one of the things that I think is important to know when it comes in business, it's like, if we look at the out in the external world, we can think that it needs to look a certain way, that your transformation is going to fucking look a certain way. But seriously, like the behind the scenes of your transformation is so unique to you. Some days you're going to be on top of the world. You're going to be like, okay, oh my God, this is my comeback. This is great. And then you're going to have to move through things that don't feel like you're moving in the right direction, but you are, because because it's your commitment, because even if sometimes then feel like you're moving in the right direction, as long as you are in yourself creating the structure and the support that you need in order to move in the right direction, you are moving in the right direction. But sometimes it feels like you're not. Sometimes it feels like you're not. And so the things that I want you to take out of this podcast is to know that, when we are upgrading, when we are evolving, where we're breaking through, when we are, again, maybe if you're coming back to business, just the fact that it doesn't feel like this perfect comeback, it doesn't mean that it's not your comeback. And the more we put the pressure on ourselves to have this perfect comeback in business, the more we hold ourselves back, and the more harder it is, and the less fun we allow it to be in order for us to come back. And so the important thing is that you're moving in the right direction, is that that you're taking the steps in the right direction, even if sometimes it feels like one step forward and a little bit back, and one step forward and a little bit back, and maybe 5 steps forward and a little bit back. Like that pullback, it's not that you are breaking, it's not that things are not moving in the right direction. It's, don't make this resistance per se mean anything other than the fact that is a human transformation that's not linear, and that you've got to move through sticky places. Like embodying her and embodying our next level, it's a stretchy, which gets me to the next point that I want to make in this. Is like, a lot of the times we hear on social media when people are like, you want to manifest your next level, great, embody your future self, take actions as if your future self would, like really begin to get super clear on what your future self is and looks like, and begin to act as her. But what people don't tell you about that is that you are going to begin to make choices as your future self, but you're not her yet. You are actually making choices as yourself now, based on what your future self would do with ease. But hello, you're still here. You're still you. And so that is even more powerful, right? Because it takes fucking courage. Because you're not her yet. Like, yes, of course, your future self is going to make these choices with so much ease because she's already there. She has evidence. She's moved through this. She's living this beautiful life. But you right now don't have that evidence. You right now have to gather the courage to move in that direction and to feel what it feels to be at that edge. And so the respect that I have gathered for myself to the fact that like everything that I have become has been not because that future self made those choices, but because the one that was becoming made those choices when it was scary as fuck. When it was like, oh my goodness, this feels stretchy. This feels uncomfortable. This feels like there is resistance. So have so much support and admiration for the woman that you are right now. That's the one that's building your future self. The reason why your future self is able to make these decisions with ease is because you right now made them in your state today. And so this is the thing about the comeback. It's like, you've got to remember that, like, coming back, it's literally almost like changing skin. Like the way that I see it is almost like cracking an egg and coming out of this egg, and it's gonna sometimes be messy, and you're going to be like, what is going on, and am I going in the right direction, and is this the thing? And and it's meant to feel like that. It's meant to feel like you are a bit in between worlds. You are a little bit of who you used to be, and tapped into who you're becoming, and you're in the middle, and it's your fucking choice. And that's so much power. It's your choice in this moment to either, stay with the choices that you used to make in the past, or move through this like uncomfortable in between moment when you are building the future self, when you are becoming her. But remember that you're becoming her as you know. And so I feel like that's the gap that, a lot of the times we can get us stuck. Because, if you feel like your comeback needs to be perfect, if you feel like, oh, I've meditated in my future self and I'm supposed to feel all this like grandiose energy and I'm supposed to just move through it without resistance, you're going to feel stuck when you begin to feel resistance. You're going to feel stuck when you're going to feel like this is not such a walk in the park. And so, two things that I want you to take out of this podcast. The first one is your comeback or your becoming, your transformation. It's not linear. You get to have ups and downs, and you will have. You get to feel resistance, and you will feel it. And you get to be human in this transformation. And as long as you know that you're taking actions in the right direction, you are moving in the right direction, even if sometimes temporarily it doesn't feel like that. And one of the things that I think is important for me, and that has been, and for my clients as well, through this transformation and this becoming, is that as you are embarking in this new level, as you're embarking in this new transformation, as you're coming back to this, new level of you, or coming into this new level of you, is that you remember that as you move through it, you're going to find some resistance. And that is part of the process. That what is important here is your choice and your commitment, especially when you're like, oh my God, am I pulling back? Like, is this not working out? Did I reverse all the way back and do I have to start again? No. Like, as long as you're choosing and committing to that direction, you're moving in that right direction, even if it doesn't feel like it. And the other thing is like, be her now takes fucking courage, because again, you're building that muscle. And that's part of the journey. That's part of like how exciting it is and how much power there is when you're like, I am choosing this and I'm going for this and it's going to be so fucking magical. And so I hope that this kind of bridges some gaps in between perhaps the ways that you're feeling and perhaps, why at some point it has felt like it's not looking as pretty or as perfect or as you thought it needed to look like, but it's freaking perfect. And the important thing when it comes to all of this is that you get the support that you need in order to move through, because a lot of the times, especially when we're having, a breakthrough or when we're going through big transformations, our mind will trick us and to try to pull us back into our old reality. And it's so important that we have anchors in order to make sure that we are actually taking the steps and moving in the right direction when it comes to this. And so one thing that I'm super excited to be sharing with you that it's happening very, very soon. It's called the VIP room. And what I really want to do here is I want to bring women together, because I am very soon launching a new mastermind that's called Destiny. And this mastermind is basically a way to align your soul and your business together. This is a way to align your business to your destiny, to begin to come back to your true essence, to your most powerful essence, and to what actually is in alignment with you right now, so that you can bring that energy into business and just go nuts at it, to really begin to align who you are and what you want to express right now and who you are in this moment, and bring that into business, and to create a business that feels just like an extension of your soul, an extension of your purpose, an extension of who you are, and to really be able to love business and to love you at the same time. And so in Destiny, so because I am, of course, launching Destiny in a few weeks, I wanted to do a almost like sneak peek of the work that we're going to be doing inside of that mastermind, inside of the VIP room. So the VIP room is a free experience. It's 2 days. And what we're going to do inside of the VIP room is that I am going to be directly coaching. In day one, I am going to do a study on one of the women inside, and I'm going to study her soul, her purpose, what she's here to do, her gifts, her intuitive abilities. I'm really going to just geek out and study, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to be coached by me when it comes to reconnecting to your soul and reconnecting to your skills and your gifts and your purpose. And so I'm going to be directly coaching somebody through that experience, so that you see what it actually looks like to reconnect and to be mirrored back your truth. And then on the second day, I will pick another woman and I will go and do exactly the same, but for her business now. And so the second day, it's all going to be about how do we take your energy, your path, your soul, and we integrate it into the way that you lead business, into your marketing, into your sales, into the way that you show up in business, and how that impacts the next level of your evolution. And so the BAP room, it's going to be a super expansive experience, because even if I'm just reading, one person the first day and another person the second, you get to like, there's going to be so many insights that you get to take for yourself and for your business that are going to be just full of freaking value. Again, this is super, super, super exciting, and it's happening really soon. So if you want to be a part of it, it's by application only, although it is free, but I want to make sure that the women that come into this experience are ready and perfect for this space. And so if you want to apply, I'm going to leave a link in the bio that you can just go into my DMs on Instagram and send me a message that says BAP room. And then I'll just ask you like 2 to 3 questions to make sure that this is the right space for you. And then I'll let you in our group. If you are interested in Destiny, the mastermind, that's going to be, of course, a lot more tailored, like personalized work. You're going to have my eyes on you and on your business to make sure that you get the greatest comeback, that you break through your next level, and that it's all coming from full alignment so that you begin to lead effortlessly being you. And so that's the work that we're going to be doing together inside of Destiny. So if you already want the details for Destiny, make sure that you message me Destiny, and I'll send you what that looks like. And you will have a super incredible early bird prize that you get to take advantage of. So thank you so much for being part of this podcast. Thank you so much for coming back to Divine Alignment Podcast. It's been so beautiful to spend this time together. There is a lot more episodes that I will be sharing with you very soon. And so magic awaits, my loves. If you are part of this podcast and you're loving this, I also have a free Telegram group that is basically the space of my community, is where I share the most really quick bits of audios and things, and in between the scenes of what's going on in my life and what's going on in the business and everything. It's like the hub of my people. And so if you are connecting to my energy and connected to this podcast, I definitely invite you to be part of Align as Fuck, the Telegram group. It's completely free and it's the best way to stay connected. So I will also leave that in the link in the bio, and I'll talk to you soon on another episode.